everyone, I'm Bertha Ross.
And I'm Beatrice Ross.
And today we are going to show you the difference between the Gothic and the Renaissance style of painting.
As you can see, we've started with a blank canvas, but it's a great day to paint.
So, we're going to start with the background.
An important part of the background to Gothic art is the drab and dreary colors that don't distract from the main subject.
Now, if you're painting in the more modern Renaissance style, you want to include the more natural sort of landscaping, where you would have the beautiful sky and the more natural land, like the greenness or brownness, depending on where you live, I guess. But it's just meant to be more natural and realistic.
Gothic art has a very unique style in the course of history. With the main focus on the subject of the painting, the backgrounds were typically bland or understated. In addition, these subjects were based solely off of religious figures, such as the Virgin Mary. These idols were drawn in a particular fashion to be seen as an ideal form by all viewers. These ideal forms resulted in thin, long noses, ornate clothing, and mature faces and features. Supplementary to the details and subjects of the paintings, the color scheme of nearly all Gothic paintings is notable. Traditional Gothic paintings, with focus on the subject, rely on dark or subtle colors to subtly bring the idols to life, as displayed in the video.
As Bertha finishes up her background, let's take a look at the Gothic background style. We can see here that there's very bland coloring used. We have a total of 5 colors on this whole background. We have a lighter green to indicate, the shading to the background. So the dark green and the brown are blended together to show the dark colors of the farmland that everybody was so accustomed to. We also see that there's a darkish kind of slate blue sky, which indicates, the downward spiral of the time and the ominous emotions that everybody was kind of getting. And up here at the very top, we see some roughly blended black coloring. And so that helps to show more of the ominous signals that are coming in and out. Now, Bertha, would you like to explain your lovely background?
Well, with ours, we have a lovely total of 4 colors. We have this beautiful blue in the back to sort of show the increase in art and how much thinking was going on and how people weren't as stuck in this little box of what was allowed to be expressed. And then we have this gray to sort of show where we came from, which you can also see in Beatrice's painting. And then, of course, on the bottom we have the lovely chocolate brown to show also how people were still living on farmland and how they were accustomed to that, but also that with the green there was new growth and new life in this new age of painting and art.
Let's also take a moment to notice how this painting reflects mostly dark colors, while Bertha's painting has some light blues and some light greens mixed into the bottom. While there is some light green here, it really is going to be overshadowed by the subject of the painting, which is the whole point of Gothic art.
Now you're really going to get to see our artistic abilities as we sketch our subjects onto these lovely backgrounds. So we're both going to be painting the same thing, the Virgin Mother and Baby Jesus, but you will very clearly see a difference in Beatrice's style and mine.
In addition, with the subject of the painting, usually Gothic art was based around the religious family and, just those religious beings. In the Renaissance, we often saw powerful families being represented as religious figures. So Bertha over here is going to be basing hers off of a more realistic figure, while the Gothic style of art done by me, Beatrice, will be more ideal and how the Virgin Mary was supposed to have looked. So we'll get to see those art styles come to life here. Anything to add?
Now, I would just say, think of Mrs. Medici when you look at this beautiful work of art when you're done.
As displayed in Bertha's painting, Renaissance art was a significant gateway into some of the realistic art we see today. While Renaissance art was still based around religion, new thinking about the accomplishments of man led to real people being painted as religious figures.
Alrighty, picking back up, we see here that we have our shapes of Mary and Jesus, and Mary and Jesus.
Renaissance art was used as a sign of class and featured many bright colors and more detailed backgrounds. There was also a major shift from portraying the subjects as perfect. Rather, they were painted to look as real as possible.
Here we have our Gothic and Renaissance styles of the Virgin Mary and Jesus. Bertha, tell us a a little bit about your painting.
Thanks, Beatrice. So here we talked about the background, where we had the lovely natural tones and show the difference from what used to be to what is coming from this current age and time. So in the background we have some birds and a little bit of this beautiful sunshine to show the more outdoor and more natural feeling of this work of art that it clearly is. Also, if you will look at our lovely baby Jesus and Virgin Mary, their clothing is very mundane and drab because of their status. This was meant to be portrayed as something that people could relate to, and so they would have dressed in the common clothing of brown colors and nondescript clothing. It's just sort of draped. So also, it's meant to look real, so she's got some wrinkles. I mean, it happens with age. We're all gonna get them. So she has them. Now, but you can see, baby Jesus does not have any because he's a fetus, so he doesn't have any. He's very youthful, very porcelain-like, and then you can just see a clear difference between the ages. So, and there's not meant to be makeup. I apologize. I got carried away on the eyelashes. So,
Alrighty. In our Gothic style painting, we see here Mary and Jesus portrayed in a little bit more of a higher class of clothing. So we see Mary portrayed here in a sort of nun style, which she probably did not really wear. But in the Gothic style of, art and architecture, we want to portray the most ideal form of that person. So in the minds of many Catholics and Christians at the time, Mary would have been this perfect saint. And even if she likely wasn't and likely wore common clothes and worked all day, she probably could be represented this way as based on the scriptures. And we see baby Jesus down here with these nice gold little ruffles, which were a sign of luxury at the time. And so we can see that, even if they were quite poor at the time whenever they actually lived, we can actually appreciate and see how their spiritual being gave them power to really express and exemplify these modern ideals.
my last point would be, you could probably see this person walking down the street with you someday. Like Aunt Margaret, I don't know. Like this could be her and her new son, I don't know, John, who knows? You probably wouldn't see her walking down the street. She looks like some high-class lady that sits around in her house all day. Her face is so white, she's never seen the sun. I don't know. So,
All right. Let's also take a moment to appreciate baby Jesus' wrinkles. That was a sign of maturity and aging, and so even if it's not considered ideal today to have wrinkles, but back then, that's a sign of wisdom and glory. So you can see how he's more realistic here and a little bit more mature and grown up. That's all we have for you today, folks. I'm Beatrice.
and I'm Bertha.
And today was a great day to paint.
So,
History. Art.
A picture bomb.
Natalie. Bertha.